Hey guys, Martin here bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we are going to talk about all of the EZAs and Super EZAs that I think we could potentially see during the Golden Week celebration. Obviously we have one of them confirmed already, which is this AGL Blue Goku. It's not often we find out the EZA or like the first EZA of the celebration straight away from the data download, because this guy's Super EZA does come out a few days after the banners. Normally we get the drop and then it's like a couple of days to a week later we get the first major EZA or Super EZA of the celebration. So this one is confirmed, but bear in mind we got quite a few for Golden Week last year, including Super EZA as well, so we should see some interesting stuff as we go through the celebration. We will talk a little bit about some possible EZAs or Super EZAs that may not come until part 2, and some of that will of course depend on who is actually going to be the pick for the part 2 LR, because of course whilst we still imagine it's still going to be tournament participants related, whether it stays, I don't think it will stay solely confined to like the Universe 6 versus Universe 7 arc, but obviously depending on who that is in part 2 will make a impact on who the potential EZAs and Super EZAs could be. So like I said, we know this guy's getting a Super EZA. I think almost everybody predicted that he would, right? Like the next time we got a celebration where it would make sense for him to be there as the Super EZA, and of course getting a new Blue Kaioken Goku, yeah, I don't think anybody at all was surprised that this guy is getting the Super EZA. He seems relatively decent, but we won't talk about him here. We'll save that for his actual showcase video once he gets the Super EZA. But the next big one that I think we are almost certain to see is the Tech, Kale and Caulifla. The reason for that is that we often get EZAs, I don't want to say spoiled, but like pretty much hinted at or pointed out by the actual banner lineups. And obviously on Hit's banner, Hit has Tech, Kale and Caulifla in that slot where this Blue Goku is on the Goku banner. So Goku's banner has this unit that is getting a Super EZA, and then Hit's banner has this unit that is definitely in line for their EZA, right? This unit is almost 4 years old at this point, and obviously is a Universe 6 character, fits on Hit's like leader skill. So this unit getting an EZA I think is an absolute shoe-in based on what we've seen from the banner so far, right? So we know this one's definitely happening. This one I think is almost as good as confirmed, right, with them being in that spot on the Hit banner. But I suppose nothing is ever 100% in Dokkan until it is officially announced. But I would be very, very surprised if these guys don't EZA during this celebration, even if it ends up being in part 2, right? I feel like these guys are gonna EZA in this celebration, and obviously could be very, very good on a lot of solid teams. Accelerated battle is the thing that just constantly gets buffs. Obviously Hit is a new leader for that, but they're also on Super Saiyans, Power Beyond Super Saiyan. Actually they're on Super Saiyan 2, aren't they, because they transform into Super Saiyan 2 Kefla. So they're on Power Beyond Super Saiyan, they're on Fused Fighters, obviously they're Pure Saiyans, like they're on a lot of teams, so their EZA has the potential to be very, very good. And then of course the other one that is could kind of go hand in hand with them, right, is the INTK Minato's favorite unit. He was the banner unit for Tech, Kale and Caulifla, and obviously recently Dokkan has been slacking when it comes to doing the banner unit EZAs. We finally got a couple of random unit ones with like the STR Pycon and Physical Kaioken, but who knows if they will go back to actually doing some of these again. It was like the Cooler Worldwide where we got an EZA, which I think was Metal Cooler, and then they EZA'd his banner units like at the same time. So we could see them do something like that again with this INTK getting an EZA. He buffs Universe Survival Saga allies, so I guess that's not really useful for the Hit or Goku team, but as some of these other characters start getting their buffs and Universe 6 and stuff, the teams get upgraded, this could obviously be very useful. The restriction with the Vegeta is obviously not ideal, but, you know, this guy, he could be a somewhat decent support unit if they give him a good EZA, but that all depends on whether they will do the sub EZA at the same time as the normal EZA. So then we have one that I think a lot of people also very much anticipate, which is the Hit and God Goku LR. Mainly because, like, this is one of those units in the game where, because they go by the joined forces like setup, right, they're obviously on restricted categories, have a restricted link set, but this is one of the units in the game that is the best link partner for Hit units, because the links are very similar to Hit's link set as opposed to like a Goku like Super Saiyan kind of link set. So with us getting a new Hit, this is obviously the perfect opportunity for these guys to get an EZA, and then, you know, fit nicely. They go on the Hit's team under his 170 lead, because obviously they're on accelerated battle. They're not on super bosses or I can't remember what his other plus 50 is, but they're only on a couple of categories. So yeah, he's not on. Is Hit's thing? I have to double check whether it's not tournament participants, is it? It's super bosses and something else. You have to let me know down below. But yeah, these guys would be on the team. They would be a good link partner for Hit. I think it's a very good like guess that these guys would be getting an EZA during this celebration, because they are another one of these older 2021 units that has been very much waiting in line, right, to get their EZA in a relevant celebration. So it kind of feels like if they don't EZA them in this celebration, like, when would they EZA these guys? Because I can't imagine we're going to get a new Hit anytime soon, now that we're getting this new one now, right? So I think these guys are a shoe-in. These two, I think, just absolutely are going to EZA by the end of the celebration. Then we get into some more speculation sort of stuff, right? So Angel Frieza is one that we mentioned in the last celebration because of tournament participants. This guy is he is almost 5 years. He's like 4.5 years old on JP, right? One of the last remaining like reps of Universe 7 characters from around that time that doesn't have an EZA. This guy could definitely be very interesting, right? He stacks in base, so useful for longer events, or you can transform him straight away. And then he has built-in stun chance, so obviously for things like the battle-hardened formidable foes, he could be useful to transform straight away and stun the enemy in that first phase. Like, this guy has the potential to get a really, really good EZA, especially like he has this damage reduction, but it's only when you're at like half HP. If they change this, right, give him some like base damage reduction all the time, and then maybe some extra when you're on lower HP, but ideally not this low, he would have the potential to be a really good like tank in the shorter events. Or you can go the route of just stacking with this guy, maybe give him some built-in additionals. After he receives his first attack, he has that built-in dodge chance, so really we want him to like have a little bit of extra defensive capability for that first hit he has to take, and then after receiving an attack, maybe the dodge goes up to like high or even great chance, right? And then that would make him a very, very good EZA. And even if it's relying on dodge, right, the potential to slot one, and once he stacks up enough, then he would be able to slot one, as long as like take that first hit and then dodge everything afterwards potentially. Could be very, very good. So I think this guy is definitely an interesting choice. Now remember, we talked about for even the previous celebration where we got Pycon, that a Frieza, like an Angel Golden Frieza, could have been the Part 2 LR. There is always the possibility that an Angel Golden Frieza could be the Part 2 LR for this celebration. And then obviously the Angel Frieza getting an EZA as well would be ideal to go with that Part 2, right? So I think this guy could definitely see an EZA during the celebration. If we find out that the Part 2 LR is indeed an Angel Golden Frieza, then I feel like that basically confirms that this guy's going to EZA, right? But we will have to wait and see. Now, one thing that I've seen some people talking about that I think would be very good just for like the Universe 6 team setup, would be good for some of these other units, especially if like TUR Kale and Caulifla are indeed getting their EZA, is will they go a little bit earlier than we would normally expect and EZA the AGL Kale? Because this is a unit that came out and got very little support and like boosts and everything at the time, and then went for such a long time without getting those buffs that she needed, that she just never really got to be in that position in the meta. Like, the AGL Kale as a unit was really good if she had the team around her that she needed, which she just never really got. So obviously with Universe 6 allies attacking in the same turn, which we're obviously going to have with the new hit, the potential Tech Kale and Caulifla EZA. And then obviously her transformation condition requires a Caulifla if you want it on turn 4, otherwise it's turn 6. And of course with the Tech Kale and Caulifla EZA that would be handled. And then yeah, she could be a very good, with a good EZA, she could be a solid slot 1 unit for that team, which would be really, really good. Now obviously she came out April 2023, so she is only 2 years old. I think she would be, I'd have to double check, but she would be one of the newer units to get an EZA. But Dokkan has shown that they will EZA these characters like out of chronological order if they are relevant to the celebration. And I think it's fair to say that like even with these new Universe 6 buffs that are coming out now without an EZA, it's not like Kale is suddenly going to be usable again now, right? So I think that would be really cool if she got an EZA. It is a bit early potentially, but in order to really boost like Hit's team and really give these new units like a bunch of other stuff to work around, I think that would be really, really good. Same with this next option, which is maybe not as crazy because they're an older unit, but I think it's just the case of when it comes to super EZAs, they have been sort of going in some kind of order. Like they have skipped out some units here and there to go on to some like higher leader skill ones and then kind of gone back again. But when it comes to LR super EZAs, we've only seen the Tech Super Saiyan Goku, who of course was the first ever LR, the first free-to-play LR, and then the INT Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, who is the first summonable LR. But remember, these guys right here, Tech, Goku and Frieza, they came out in 2018, and they were the first LR to get an EZA, and that was in 2021. So, you know, if they were the first LR to get an EZA, despite being out of order of that thing, or like first summonable LR, then why not them be getting a super EZA? Like Super Saiyan 2 Gohan already has his. This guy's, their EZA is like 4 years old. So it's definitely not too early for these guys to get a boost. And that would be really, really good for the Reps of Universe 7 team, with the new Goku, with the 10th anniversary characters, who obviously a lot of people feel were quite lackluster, right? The Blue Evolution Vegeta and the INT Frieza Goku. Like this guy getting a super EZA would be a massive boost to that Reps of Universe 7 team. So I could definitely see it being a possibility, right? We've already had our first LR super EZA in terms of summonable, which was Gohan, which is fitting because he was the first summonable LR. And then these guys, like I say, they were the first summonable LR EZA, unless I'm completely misremembering that. So for them to get a super EZA, I think would be perfectly viable for this celebration, and would be a massive buff for Goku's team as well, right? Because they are on Reps of Universe 7, they're on full power. I believe they do get his full, leader skill, right? So that would be really, really good. And these guys, I mean, when they came out, obviously, like these guys could be one of the hardest hitting units on that team potentially. So that would definitely be fun. Then we also have, thinking about sub EZAs again. So obviously Dokkan, you know, sometimes they forget what these are, but I thought back to looking at these tournament participants characters, and we have the banner units from the 6th anniversary, right? The Gohan and Golden Frieza and the Gohan and Piccolo. So these guys are like 5 years old, over 5 years old at this, or sorry, over 4 years old at this point. And the Universe 6 characters that they came out with, or sorry, the 6th anniversary characters that they came out with, have all EZA'd already. So these guys are just perfectly waiting, sat there. I think the STR Gohan and Frieza are actually a relatively good link partner for Hit as well. So it could be interesting. They're not on a lot of the same categories, unfortunately. In fact, I think they might only share tournament participants as a category. But these guys obviously are a good boost for a Reps of Universe 7 team. If they got a solid EZA, could be a decent like support unit for that team. And then the Gohan and Frieza, I remember like they were not good on release, right? People were very much not happy with them and their release. But if they get a good EZA, then they could certainly be very good, right? Like giving them actual guaranteed guard, maybe even changing like the Reps of Universe 7, because they link really well with Hit, change the Reps of Universe 7 to just like tournament participants. I mean, I guess they probably never really change these completely, but it could be like Reps of Universe 7 or tournament participants ally attacking in the same turn. then gives reps of Universe 7 or tournament participant allies 2 key, 20% attack and defense. Just give them guard after performing a super, and then they can be a decent floating support that would link well with Hit, as well as providing support to him as well. So I think these two, like sub EZAs, could definitely be very, very good. Then there's also, I wanted to give this guy a shout out, right? Remember when this guy randomly got his TUR Awakening in 2019 and was like insanely good for no reason? So this guy getting an EZA would be super good, right? He's like 5 years old at this point, or just over. Him getting an EZA would be kind of interesting. Now, obviously he doesn't share a lot of categories with the with these new characters, right? Tournament participants pretty much being the only one again, but he could certainly be interesting with an EZA. I mean, he wasn't really doing much before, right? He had the big defense raise for 9 turns on super, and then building up with each hit, which is what allowed him to build up to such ridiculously high defense. Like, imagine they just give him raise attack and defense by 30% for 9 turns. For every attack received, like, this number could go up. Potentially he could get like damage reduction with each attack received as well, and then give him like guard, even if it's conditional, like guard if he's in slot 1 or something, because then this guy could end up building up to being a really solid slot 1 tank for the tournament participants team. But they would have to give him some extra defensive tech, like I say, like build up of damage reduction or something, because nowadays like just raw defense doesn't really cut it. But he could be very interesting with an EZA, so I think that would be cool to see. And then obviously he does have the transformation, rare chance of turning into a giant when HP is 80% or less. They could quite easily just make this like guaranteed when HP is like 70% or less or something. I mean, 80% or less is probably better, and then he transforms into the giant form, which obviously they could give some extra buffs now, like they do with like extra keeper orb or something like that, right? So this guy could be a really fun like random bonus EZA. And then there's a couple that I wanted to mention, especially like if the part 2 LR is going to be a Caulifla, which I know a lot of people would like to see, which is one of the reasons why like these guys could end up EZAing in the celebration, but not until part 2. One of the things we were talking about on the stream last night is we know that they announced that super EZAs will only be for Dokkan Fests or LRs, at least to start with. At some point in the future we will get a non-Dokkan Fest or LR super EZA. And it's interesting to think about some of the older units that could be candidates for that. And the units we were talking about last night was the AGL Super Saiyan 2 Caulifla and the Physical Berserk Kale. These guys, they just randomly came out as like a random banner. For some reason they were global first for like 3 days. But these guys came out, and Kale was pretty decent, but Caulifla, at the time that she released, like bear in mind her kit, if we look at the pre-EZA version, doesn't seem like anything good now. But when she came out in 2018, like as a random unit that just released on a banner, I think it was like these two were like the 2 main featured ones. And I think you got, was it guaranteed featured in the first couple of multis even potentially? But like at the time that this unit came out, she had absolutely no reason being this good. She had built-in dodge and a built-in chance to counter enemy super attacks, which made her the first and only at the time non-Super Saiyan 4 like Dokkan Fest character to have the ability to counter super attacks. And then obviously being a pure Saiyan character and being super AGL, there was a lot of teams that she could fit on where she would be really good, right? Like super AGL, super Battle Road, she could dodge, counter supers, like as a random like banner unit that just came out, she was really, really good on release. And then I don't really remember the meta too well when she got her EZA in 2020, whether she was particularly great on EZA or not. But yeah, imagine these two getting a super EZA going alongside like Tech Kale and Caulifla, a part 2 LR Caulifla. Like that would be absolutely crazy. And there's also the physical Caulifla. Well, actually, yeah, she came out at the same time, so she was the main featured unit. I forgot about that. She was the main featured unit, and then these two were on the banner with her. And she was quite good on release as well. So imagine like these guys getting a super EZA. I do think it's a bit unlikely just because, like I say, we know they're only really doing Dokkan Fest exclusives and LRs to start with. But at some point, we will see a non-Dokkan Fest or LR get a super EZA. Maybe it is too early for that, but it would be kind of crazy for these guys, especially because like with a good super EZA, this AGL Super Saiyan 2 Caulifla could easily be like one of the best TURs again, which would be kind of crazy. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Obviously, we've gone off into a bit more random and wild speculation here at the end with some of these characters, but I do think, like I say, I feel like we will almost definitely see the STR hitting God Goku and the Tech Kale and Caulifla EZA by the end of the celebration. But in terms of the other ones, who knows? Let me know what you guys think down below. If there's any I missed out that you think we could potentially see EZA during the celebration, do let me know down below in the comment section as well. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.